The Chicago Bears just got an incredible Christmas gift. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. Together with my buddies, we are the NFC North Guys, bringing you all the latest NFC North news, insights, and analysis. If you're a Bears fan, take just a quick second, like and subscribe. You don't want to miss out. We live and breathe Midwest football here. That's why I got my Big Ten pennants behind me. Got to represent them in the playoffs here, but let's dive into that Bears football. So just kind of setting the stage for what I'm going to be talking about, I have kind of a big overarching gift that Bears fans have to be thrilled about. And then stick around for I got a bunch of things specifically kind of talking about this week's game that I think are breaking the Bears' way. So first things first, the Chicago sometimes kind of started talking about the relationship between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. If you haven't seen this article, I highly encourage you to go read it. And it's basically, to summarize it here for you, the Bears have what they've been wanting for as long as I can remember as a Bears fan. I mean, we've had some talented QBs with Jay Cutler, even Fields and Trubisky had some talent. I don't think anyone has the talent that Caleb Williams has. We've had some good coaches, but not necessarily coaches that really know how to develop a quarterback. But I think what you're seeing now is the Bears have finally gotten that position right. And I loved seeing what Caleb Williams said about Ben Johnson. And he even admitted, like, there were some uncomfortable times for us early on. I thought he disliked me. We kind of had a fragile relationship. But he goes on to say, like, we've worked through it. We've developed together. Now we have a great relationship. I have so much joy. Like, he's the best coach. I love playing for him. And that's what you want to hear. Because I'm sure some of you have seen it. People have been comparing Caleb Williams' year 2 to Matt Nagy's year, or not Matt Nagy, to Mitch Trubisky's year 2 with Matt Nagy and how similar the stats are right now. But this is such a different situation. And I think a big part of it is Ben Johnson, like he does what it takes to win. And I think he and Caleb have a much better working relationship where there's some give and take. Like with Nagy and Trubisky, like it felt like year 2, Nagy was like, okay, I'm going to do things to set you up to do you, for you to succeed. And then it got into year 3, and Nagy's like, all right, now this is my offense. You need to do what works for me. And Trubisky just wasn't capable of it. And Nagy spent the next year or two trying to shove a square peg into a round hole, and it never worked. But with Williams and Ben Johnson, you just have this give and take where it's like, Ben Johnson's like, hey, I know you want to run around and be Superman, but sometimes you just got to stand in the pocket and take the smart pass and get the 5-yard gain and keep the chains moving and keep the positive plays flowing. But then he's like, also, sometimes you can be Superman. Because I had that in Detroit with Jared Goff, but when push came to shove and, the defense was closing in on him, he couldn't make that spectacular play that Caleb Williams was capable of making. So I feel like now we have this perfect marriage of Caleb Williams. He's taking the smart throws. He's being set up for success by Ben Johnson. He's doing the little things. He's avoiding sacks. He's getting positive plays. But he also, when he needs to be, can be Superman. And it's put us in the best situation I can ever remember as a Bears fan in terms of quarterback and head coach. And the good news just keeps on giving. It's Christmas, the season of giving. You got to keep the good news coming for the Bears. First injury report of the week is out. Not a lot of good news when you see how long that is, but the one big takeaway I had here is that Luther Burden finally hit the practice field. He was limited today, but he is out there and practicing again, and I really hope that means he's healthy and ready to go for the 49ers. I don't think Rome Odunze is going to be ready to go, but it was recently reported that he's expected to be back for the playoffs. So it's not something that should keep him out for the year. He just needs to get healthy. And that's why this clinching the playoffs this past week was so huge for the Bears. Because even if Luther Burden's not ready this week, they have that ability to be like, you know what, don't push it. Stay healthy. You can play next week, or maybe we'll even hold you out to the playoffs. But we know we're there now. We don't need to risk injury. And I think that's what they'll do with Odunze. But in the meantime, you are still fighting for the 1 seed, and I really hope Luther Burden is able to play. And then another thing that I think is going to be positive for the Bears is they continue to get disrespected by the NFL media. So the big one this week that people are complaining about is Nahshon Wright being snubbed from the Pro Bowl. I loved his response to it. He's posted this on Instagram as just like, yawn, I'm just going to keep taking away the football. Showed off his collection of footballs that he's gotten this year. And he's just going to continue doing that. And I think that kind of disrespect, like, it stinks. I'd love to see him get the recognition he deserves, but it's also going to keep him hungry. And it's not just him. This Bears team continues to get disrespected. As I was pulling up this all my articles to start talking about this video, I see Fox Sports, they just put out their predictions for this week. They like the 49ers to win, and I think that's something you're going to see a lot this week. A lot of people, the 49ers are kind of starting to play some good football, looked really good offensively against the Colts. And people just continue to sleep on our Chicago Bears, and they're going to continue to make people pay for it. I love it. I love that this team has a chip on their shoulder. I love that the national media continues to be like, oh, it's not sustainable. You know, they can't score 0 points in a half and beat playoff teams. Like, first off, they just did. But second off, like, what they're doing is sustainable. Like, yeah, you don't want every game to come down to the last second, but they're running the ball on everybody. That's like the most sustainable thing there is in the NFL. And then they make big-time plays in big-time moments, and that's exactly what you want out of them. So I love that the media keeps hating on him, keeps disrespecting him, and not just the team, but Nahshon Wright. I'm looking for Nahshon Wright to let the world know they messed up by not putting him in the Pro Bowl when they play the 49ers this week. Brock Purdy, he's had a great year. I'm not going to sit here and dog on him. But one thing he's done a lot this year is he's turned the football over. Like, he's played, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's only played 7 games, and he has 8 interceptions this year. And a lot of, like, his best games, the Colts have a decent defense. That was impressive. But some of his best games have been the Titans and the Cardinals, who have awful defenses this year. But when he's played real ones, like the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Panthers have a pretty good defense. Like, he has turned the football over a lot. 7 interceptions in just those 3 games. Really didn't have a great game against that tough Browns defense either, not like the game Caleb had against them. And so, like, this is a quarterback who's been turning the football over a lot, going against a team that, I don't know if you followed them at all this year, but they force a lot of turnovers, and specifically Nahshon Wright has been forcing a lot of turnovers. So I would love to see him just electrify this Bears fan base even more and show the world, like, yeah, I should have been a Pro Bowler, but I'm just going to keep taking the ball away. I'm going to keep being me, and the recognition's going to come when they're Super Bowl champions. But big-time game this week. Sounds like George Kittle is iffy. That would be huge. One other thing from the injury report that we probably got to be paying attention to this week, I'll pull it up here, is TJ Edwards did not practice today. That's not good. Hopefully they're just kind of taking it safe with him and he'll be ready to play. Because to me, this 49ers team it's Kittle and it's McCaffrey, and it's going to be a big-time deal for the linebackers to be able to lock those 2 guys down. And who, like I said, maybe they don't even have to lock down Kittle. Not sure he's going to play this week. We'll see what happens with that. But you're going to want Edwards and Edmonds at their best going up against Christian McCaffrey for sure. But you guys, let me know what you think on all of that. And then please like and subscribe on the way out. And whether you're watching this Christmas Eve when I put it out or Christmas Day, I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Be safe with your travels. Have fun with your family. And we'll catch you next time.